Gold Diggers helping out Dean, and that's usually the case. He needs help, Dean Martin. And Rainbows are back in style, the old show topper. Good old Dean. I understand one time he went to a party incognito. Stone sober he went to that party. Nobody knew him. He gets kidded about his beverage consumption, but it's all a joke, right? 2 below zero, Don DuChene here up until 3 today. KSTP Radio 15, and a welcome to you. The lowest reading in the 48 contiguous states this morning, 27 below zero at Grand Forks, North Dakota. Nationwide honors, good going, Grand Forks. Yesterday's high, 81 degrees, Brownsville and McAllen, both in Texas. Let's take a look at our weather. Skies are clear this morning over much of the Dakotas and southern Minnesota, but elsewhere over the state and the 5-state north-central area, there is a heavy blanket of clouds. Scattered light snow fell earlier this morning in eastern Iowa, also in Duluth, Rapid City, and it has stopped at this time. More snow is on the way, however. The weather people expect a new storm to hit the Dakotas today and spread across Minnesota, northern Iowa, and western Wisconsin tonight. Isn't that good news? A new storm. Whoopee. Wow. Tomorrow, temperatures should go away. Cold temperatures should go away. And then dipping again on Tuesday. The highs today in Minnesota, 5 below to 5 above in the north, and about 2 to 8 above in the south. It'll be lows tonight, 2 above to 15 below in the north, 0 to about 12 above in the south. Some readings around, 19 degrees, Rapid City. That looks pretty comfortable. And that's the warmest. Other than that, we're pretty much below 0. 5 below in Alexandria, St. Cloud, and Jamestown. 10 below Grand Forks, Minot. Mason City, Iowa, with a 1 below 0. International Falls, 16 below. The big sound from the late West Montgomery, the Beatles tune, Lennon and McCartney favorite, I'll Be Back. 14 minutes past 9, KSTP time. Just getting started here. DuChene with you till 3. This is Sunday, January 19th, the 19th day of the year. Sort of follows. The moon is between its new phase and first quarter. We have to talk affectionately of the moon because of the Apollo 8 spectacular a while back. The moon is really one of our close neighbors, the way they did it. People still buzzing about that flight. Born on this date, one of the prominent birthdays, author Edgar Allan Poe, born January 19th back in 1809. Telltale Heart and the rest of his masterpieces. In 1861, Georgia seceded from the Union. In 1938, units of General Franco's Nationalist Air Force bombed Barcelona and Valencia in Spain, killing 700 civilians and wounding hundreds more. I don't know why we have to remember that. In 1955, the first presidential news conference to be covered by both moving picture and television cameras was held by Dwight D. Eisenhower. That was the first, I suppose, you didn't know about. What will we be talking about January 19th, 1969? That's the news to be reported as we go through the day. Robert Summer in 15 minutes, KSTP NBC News. And we have our news on the hour. The news team is always on alerts. Remember, it's not just the surface news. We dig for all the facts for you. Plane crash out west. A United Airlines jet crashed into the Pacific Ocean just out of Los Angeles. The jet was bound for Denver and Milwaukee. We'll have full details of that story, among others, at the half hour.
Now, KSTP Sports.
Some highlights sporting-wise, just to get you oriented. Let's see, the pro football season finally comes to an end today. All the housewives will be happy, cheering, because Sunday afternoons won't be taken up by so doggone much football from here on out. Anyway, a couple of games up on the old agenda today. The National League holds its 19th annual Pro Bowl at Los Angeles. Here it comes. Watch out, Chula. I've seen straight, stringy hair in my time, Petula Clark, but that's ridiculous. There it is. American Boys. It's a hit from Petula Clark. 21 past 9 o'clock, 2 below 0. And it's one of those days. Fair to partly cloudy, a bit colder today. We should get to a high of 10 above. Hope you can find some consolation there. The highest a year ago today was 36. The highest of record on this date. 1921, when it zipped up to 49 KSTP degrees.
Fact. Radio communicates with more people than any other form of mass media. And your 50,000-watt voice of the majority communicates with people. KSTP Radio 15, serving you from Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Right. Thank goodness for morning coffee. or how could we get along? Or maybe you're a tea man or a tea gal. You go for something warm anyway in the morning, hot chocolate. Coffee was once claimed to have medicinal powers. I don't know if you knew that or not. In Osaka, Japan, an 80-year-old document was found citing its value, and it read, "Coffee is a medical drink, and when one drinks it, the heat in the stomach increases. It's good for tuberculosis, rheumatism, toothache. In fact, coffee will heal 10,000 diseases. It must not, however, be drunk when it is raining heavily or in time of thunder and lightning." Pretty wild. An 80-year-old document found recently in Osaka, Japan, touting good old coffee. Herbie Alpert had this tune last year, slow, easy going. His first vocal. Herbie usually goes just his trumpet. Great big hit for him, too. This time, the Ray Conniff Singers. This guy, he's in love with you. The Ray Conniff Singers, 9:26. Don DuChene for the music. KSTP, all the time with you. That's the way we go. It's 2 below zero. Sorry to report that. However, a plus 10 today, and better news, 25, the high tomorrow. News at 9:30. Let's grab a tune here from Tony Bennett. Dedicating this to you.
There may be many other nights like this, and I'll be standing.
Love is Blue. That's by Buddy Merrill that time. Buddy Merrill. 13 minutes and then 10 o'clock KSTP time. Tuesday night, the Minnesota Pipers meet the New York Nets at the Duluth Arena. You're invited to join Rod Trongard and Piper coach Jim Harding. 7:55 they'll be on the air with the pregame show. Then the play-by-play to follow at 8:05. This game is presented by the 9 offices of Safe Sound, Twin City Federal, the savings institution in this area that has moved ahead of all the rest. Join us for the Pipers and the New York Nets Tuesday night, 7:55, right here on KSTP Radio 15. Talking about the Holy Spirit Cub Scout Pack 50 having its 7th annual breakfast and sausage breakfast this morning. In progress to 12:30. That's the Holy Spirit School Hall, Randolph and Albert Streets in St. Paul. Proceeds to finance Cub Scout Pack activities. If you want to take in a great breakfast, get a good start for the day, have a good one. Love is Blue, I think, will be one of the best movie songs of 1968. Has to be. Is that from a movie? Love is Blue. Possibly not. Could be that it'll grab a Grammy Award. The best movie songs of 1967 that were adjudged last year. The Bare Necessities from The Jungle Book, if you remember. The Eyes of Love from the movie Banning. The Look of Love from Casino Royale. Dr. Doolittle's Talk to the Animals was one of the best songs. And Thoroughly Modern Millie from Thoroughly Modern Millie. And the winner is Talk to the Animals, remember? Grab the winner Oscar for the best song from the movie. We should be getting the Grammy Award nominations coming up in the near future. We'll cover them for you right here on the show. Paul Anka. He sings good. 2 below zero, 11 minutes to 10. Good night, my love. Probably singing with his turtleneck and beads, just to conform with modern times. That's Paul Anka. He's been around a number of years. Good night, my love. Paul's song. Every night, music for those in love.
This is Dolly Holiday with a warm invitation for you to join me tonight and every night at the midnight hour on KSTP Radio 15, the sound of the majority, serving you with 50,000 watts of clear channel power from Minneapolis and St. Paul.
The greatest 70 players in the National Football League knock heads this afternoon. The 19th annual Pro Bowl game, 5 Vikings in that game. Fran Tarkington will be one of the quarterbacks. He, of course, of the New York Giants, formerly of the Vikings. Alan Page, Carl Edel, Jim Marshall, they will all be in that ball game. Earl Morrell of Baltimore, Roman Gabriel of the Rams will be at quarterback for the West. And it should be Don Meredith and Fran Tarkington doing most of the quarterbacking for the East. It's the East versus the West this afternoon in the American Football League All-Star Game in Jacksonville. The East is a slight favorite if Super Bowl star Joe Namath can play for a while. Namath's shaky right knee has been giving him trouble. Pro football player Mike Garrett and his sister were injured last night in an auto accident, which claimed the life of a woman companion. The California Highway Patrol said the car Garrett was driving went out of control on a rain-slick curve, crossed into oncoming traffic, and was hit broadside by another car. So hoping that Mike is not seriously injured, he plays for the Kansas City Chiefs of the AFL. He suffered hand lacerations. His sister was riding between Garrett and an Irene Gibson, a gal Irene Gibson, who died in the crash. And she suffered a broken right leg. Okay. Connie Hawkins will undergo surgery tomorrow for cartilage repair in his right knee. He re-injured that knee last night in the game against the Oakland Oaks, and the Pipers went down in defeat 111-108. The Minnesota North Stars have to do it today to save face for the weekend of our Minnesota teams. The North Stars face St. Louis at the Met Sports Center. Al DeLore and his crew, those were the days back when a nickel was a nickel. Rainbow. 1 below 0, Minneapolis, St. Paul, KSTP. Don DuChene here until Henry Morgan. Henry coming in this afternoon with Monitor at 3 o'clock. Sam Sherwood and his program from 8 to 10 on KSTP Radio. We also have the KSTP mini quiz. This gives you an opportunity to win some tickets to the upcoming production of The Icecapades, coming up in the early part of next month, just after the St. Paul Winter Carnival, actually in conjunction with it, extending the St. Paul Winter Carnival, put it that way. So stand by. We will have, a little bit later on today, a KSTP mini quiz, giving you an opportunity to win some tickets to see the greatest ice show on earth, right? Chet Atkins, his excellent guitar sound, Light My Furnace. Keep it lit. Big Chet entertaining Light My Fire. Chet Atkins. 13 minutes prior till the hour. It's 1 below, KSTP degrees. Fidelity Bank and Trust, the bank with imagination, invite you to listen for Live with Confidence with author, lecturer, radio, and television personality, Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. The broadcast is heard Monday through Friday, 4:30 on KSTP, Radio 15, brought to you by Fidelity Bank and Trust, 24th and Central Minneapolis, a full-service bank.
Hear the sound of the city, the songs that are heard in the Twin Cities on KSTP. Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Just about excellent skiing conditions all around the area, with that light snow cover coming in a couple of nights ago, and the grooming of the slopes, the cold temperatures allowing snowmaking. This has just got to be one of those fantastic winters for skiers all around the upper Midwest. So have fun today, and don't fall down. The Anita Kerr Singer. The United Kerr Group. There's a song you can hum all day long. You do that, hear a tune, and then take it with you all day. What's new, Pussycat? 4 minutes in that news. Robert Summer returns with a complete fill-in. We'll have the Central Lutheran Church hour at 11 this morning. A program reminder to be listening Monday through Friday morning at 8:15 for the Berkeley Buick Sports Scope with Steve Cannon. An overnight report on scores and sporting results. The Berkeley Buick Sports Scope, 8:15 Monday through Friday, KSTP, Radio 15. Frank Sinatra, Rain in My Heart. Frank Sinatra and his latest, Rain in My Heart. Robert Summer, KSTP News. Directly next, the Central Lutheran Church Hour. Don DuChene here, extending an invitation to you. Join me this afternoon for the entertainment on KSTP, Radio 15.
Now, let's switch to the KSTP NDC Newsroom, news headquarters for the Northwest, serving you from Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is Robert Summer at 10:55, Twin Cities temperature 1 degree below zero. There were no injuries reported in the fire which gutted the turf bar this morning in Austin, Minnesota. In spite of heavy smoke, firemen were able to prevent the blaze from spreading to adjacent buildings. The cause of the fire, which broke out around 4 this morning, has not been determined, but fire officials speculate it may have started in the basement because there was a hole burned through the floor when they arrived. No damage estimate is yet available for the fire, which took 4 hours to bring under control. To Minnesota.
The inauguration of President-elect Nixon. In Saigon, President Tu announced that some American troops will be withdrawn from the war zone this year. Tu gave no figures, but sources estimate 20,000 men will be withdrawn soon, with a total of possibly 100,000 leaving before the end of the year. American and communist forces battle near the border of Cambodia and Laos today. American aircraft backed up the U.S. troops on the ground, attempting to choke off enemy infiltration routes. The communists bombarded 2 towns in the Mekong Delta, killing 1 Vietnamese civilian and wounding 22. The government of Bolivia has declared a state of siege and suspended constitutional guarantees. 7 opposition political leaders were arrested in the capital. Other arrests were reported in the interior. President Rene Barrientos said the action was necessary to block an alleged plot to overthrow his government. Thousands of Japanese riot police fought bloody battles with left-wing students at Tokyo University. A report from John Rich, NBC News, Tokyo.
200 fanatical leftist Japanese students are still holding out in the administration building of Tokyo University against the best efforts of thousands of riot police to dislodge them. For the second day, the schoolboys are hurling down stones, Molotov cocktails, and acid on police trying to enter the building. Tear gas, fired regularly into the castle-like structure and sprayed from helicopters, seems to have no effect on the determined, die-hard students. Riot police entered the campus yesterday to take it back from Zengakuren students who have paralyzed academic life for almost a year. After wild battling, the schoolboys were cleared from all but the main administration building. Meanwhile, at a nearby college, 2,500 other students are now gathering, preparing to go to the rescue of the holdouts at Tokyo University. John Rich, NBC News, Tokyo.
The 64 black students occupying a building at Brandeis University in Waltham, Massachusetts, gave up their protest tonight. Although they were granted amnesty, the students said their demands were still unsatisfied. They vowed new protests against alleged racism. Several hundred yippies and other youths demonstrated tonight at one of the pre-inaugural activities. They chanted and jeered as guests arrived for a black tie, buffet, and dance staged by the Young Republicans organization. They were part of a group of several thousand demonstrators who plan to stage counter-inaugural activities and parades in Washington tomorrow. President-elect Nixon arrives in Washington tomorrow for his inauguration Monday. For the first time since the 1953 inauguration of President Eisenhower, all 38,000 seats for the inauguration parade have been sold out. Prices range from $4 to $25. NBC News will provide comprehensive radio and television coverage of the inaugural activities Monday. Special radio reports will precede the continuous coverage that begins at 10 Eastern Time Monday morning. Young Georgia Negro leader Julian Bond gave a pessimistic assessment tonight of the outlook for race relations in the United States. A report from Merrill Hartson, station WRVA in Richmond, Virginia.
Julian Bond, in an appearance before the Richmond Urban League, called for America's black people to continue the movement toward equality and a greater part in American society, even if it requires continued militancy. The Negro legislator referred to America's white problem of racism, suggesting Negroes are being forced to settle in ghetto colonies of cities surrounded by the white power structure. As to the various methods of achieving advancement, Bond commented,
"Violence is suggested by many as a possible technique for us, but violence, viewed objectively, has not had a serious test in this country, and the present national mood ought to suggest to one that continued repression would follow another long, hot summer."
Bond added that Negroes are impatient over what he called deferred dreams. This is Merrill Hartson in Richmond.
Once again, the hour's top story. United Airlines Flight 266 from Los Angeles to Denver was reported missing over the Pacific Ocean minutes after takeoff. William Littauer, NBC News, Washington.
Listen again on the hour over most of these stations for NBC Monitor News.